President Bola Tinubu says he wants agriculture to be sexy again in segment to fulfilling promises made to Nigeria on agricultural production in the country. And tonight, we'll put the spotlight on the situation in Osun State, southwest Nigeria, where there appears to be a stalemate on the local government elections and administration. We'll be getting all sides to this matter tonight. Welcome, everyone. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sheon Okimale here in our Abuja studio. Let's first tell you what President Bola Tinubu said today. He seems to be in love with the word sexy, as he says that is exactly what he wants to make agriculture be in Nigeria. He said his administration is fulfilling his promise to Nigerians to make Nigeria a global powerhouse in agriculture. President Tinubu said this during the launch of the Renewed Hope Agricultural Mechanization Program in Abuja. He says the reforms being introduced by his administration were aimed at making farming encouraging to young Nigerians. Take a listen to him.
Vision extends beyond mere self-sufficiency. We envision Nigeria as a global agricultural powerhouse, supplying quality produce to international markets while ensuring every citizen has access to affordable nutrition food. That's why we took a bold decision to establish this Renewed Hope Agricultural Mechanization Program. We are just beginning. This equipment, when deployed, to empower mechanization and service providers, create job opportunities, make farmers easy and more sexy to our younger.
What does the term sexy means for those who don't think that agriculture is a way or the path to turn to? Well, you might want to find out if the Renewed Hope Agricultural Mechanization agenda is something you can access. But look, part of what was exciting to some people, or what some people saw today, was the fact that for those who have been querying and trying to find out President Bola Tinubu's past, perhaps we'll have a glimpse of those who were his classmates or his friends when he was in Chicago. So today, the president identified a friend from Belarus who is a businessman now, who he said were friends and neighbors in Chicago. Take a listen to him.
The story must be clear here. Alex Singman, how are you? Thank you, congratulations. Thank you very much. Alex, to all of you, Alex was my very good neighbor and went to the same school with me in Chicago. Never did we dream that I would be in this position as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and Alex would be a successful businessman from Belarus to bring about a very successful collaboration and bilateral relationship that will promote economic prosperity and future of our two countries. Alex, thank you very much for everything. I believe our university will be very, very proud that we are doing this here today.
Interesting. Well, I would be taking you to a very troubled political zone. I'm not sure it's as troubled as Iran and Israel in what we're saying, but there are some ballistic missiles, political ones, not the literal ones, that are being thrown at each other in the very interesting state of Osun under the Governor Adeleke. But I will be opening up those issues for you tonight. Stick around with me because I need to check out some of your political roundup stories.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has chaired public and private financial institutions in Africa to establish strong credit schemes, trade-blended finance models, and regulatory environment that reward innovation by protecting customers. He stated this at the opening of the 4th African Union Micro and Small Medium Enterprises Summit in Abuja, where he also reiterated President Bola Tinubu's commitment to the growth of businesses in Nigeria.
We must establish strong credit guarantee schemes, create blended finance models, and build regulatory environments that reward innovation while protecting customers.
The Senate has directed the Nigerian Customs Service, NCS, to raise its revenue target for 2025 from 6 trillion naira to 10 trillion naira, citing the urgent need for enhanced enforcement and surveillance amid rising smuggling and insecurity challenges across the country. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Customs, Senator Issa Jibrin, stated this today when the Nigerian Customs Service appeared before the committee for its budget defense. The federal government has launched a nationwide sensitization campaign for the implementation of the local government proof of address system to strengthen security, governance, and service delivery at the grassroots. The statement was made by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, at the Northern Geopolitical Stakeholders meeting held in Abuja. Akume, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary, Political and Economic Affairs Office, Mr. Nadungu Gagari, notes that the initiative is part of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has identified hunger and poverty as serious social challenges that are largely responsible for the country's national security threats being experienced in the country. General Musa stated this in Abuja at the 14th National Security Seminar organized by the Alumni Association of the National Defense College. The Chief of Defense Staff, who was represented by the Chief of Defense Training at the Defense Headquarters, Rear Admiral Ibrahim Shettima, called for a unified national approach to combating hunger and poverty, in addition to timely reporting of suspicious movements. Lastly, the Minister of Power, Ms. Adebayo Adelabu, says nothing is too much sacrifice in a bid to reconcile the party for the success ahead of 2027. The minister stated this during an expanded reconciliation meeting at his residence in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Adelabu notes that the reconciliation is about sacrifice and appealed to all agreed members of the party in the state to make some compromise and shift ground to achieve the main goal of reclaiming back the state from the current PDP-led government.
We also review the progress of reconciliation efforts of the party. Where are we coming from? Where are we? And where are we going?
Thank you so much. It is largely legal and, on the other hand, very much political. Tonight, the battle over grassroots democracy in Osun State takes center stage in this program, following the Court of Appeals judgment that upturned the outcome of the controversial local government elections conducted by the Osun State Independent Electoral Commission, OSEC, in October of 2022. The heart of the matter is whether the then APC-led OSEC acted lawfully, having conducted the elections just days before leaving office, and what the court described as a process that violated both constitutional provisions and fair democratic practice. But the People's Democratic Party, now the ruling party in the state under Senator Adeleke, has hailed the verdict of the appeal court as a victory for due process and constitutional order, accusing the previous administration of attempting to entrench loyalists in power without legal basis. On the flip side, the APC has slammed the ruling party in the state, the PDP, calling it a politically motivated judicial ambush, insisting the elections were lawfully held, and the appellate court erred in its interpretation. The Osun State government under Senator Adeleke has since moved to reorganize governance at the local level, but the dust is far from settled. With tensions rising over control of local councils, often considered the bedrock of political mobilization, the debate now touches on larger constitutional questions about electoral timelines, state autonomy, and democratic integrity. Tonight, let's unpack all of these, the legal, the political, and the civic implications with some of the key voices on both sides of the divide. Tonight, I'm being joined by the Commissioner for Information in Osun State, Mr. Kolakbo Alimi. And beside him is Honorable Adebayo Adeleke, who is the former Osun Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate it.
Good to see you again.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
It does look to me that the dust is not settled even after the appeal court judgment. I mean, I don't know if Honorable Adeleke is a lawyer, but I do know that you're a lawyer. Are you a lawyer?
I'm not.
Okay, fine.
I'm a political scientist.
No, it doesn't even matter.
Okay, thank you.
Lawyers too non-lawyers are human beings.
Like you too.
Is it same as a lawyer?
Let's get into the meat of the matter tonight.
There's a learned friend too of yours.
So let's look at it. It does look to me that there is no governance at the third tier or at the local government tier of governance in Osun State. Is that what it looks like at the moment?
Well,
okay.
No, let me allow.
Well, thank you very much for this question. It is quite unfortunate that we are experiencing what we are currently experiencing in Osun State. And if we look back, the architects and the person who actually caused this problem for us happened to be the former governor of Osun State, His Excellency Alhaji Oyetola, the current minister of Marine and Blue Economy. You could recollect vividly that the gubernatorial election in Osun State came up on 16 July 2022. The former governor, now current minister, had ample opportunity of conducting election, which would be in tandem with the law. He did not do so, but after losing the election, after his defeat, he now realized he wanted to put some stooges to be manning our local governments. And that was the problem. Election was conducted on July 16. And so the gap, the distance between July 16 to November 27 handing over that date will not be about 4 months plus. And so the electoral act required 360 days. And so Alhaji Oyetola, the former governor, when he said he would want to conduct the election, during that period, all the political parties, they told the OSEC then that what you are about to do happened to be illegal. The required notice you could not get. And if you want to give the required notice, give 360 days. They said no, that they will give 60 days. And the OCL, even OCL class at that time, prescribed, though against the Electoral Act, prescribed 90 days. So upon that one, when others, after discovered that the OCL and the government as at then, insisting that they will go on with the election, all political parties, all the 17 political parties, boycotted. They said they will not participate in the election. And that is why they usually refer to those chairmen as yes or no. Because on the day of the election, the supposed election, they have to print yes or no. You understand? Because there was no party contesting against the APC. Now, however, two of the political parties, the PDP and the Action People Party, APP, they filed an action before the Federal High Court. What now happened was that the PDP filed its own action based on the 2020 OSEC law. Immediately, the PDP filed the action. You know, they were controlling of the House. They quickly moved the House to amend the OSEC law, which prescribed 90 days. Because even as at that time, there was no way they could have got any 90 days. So they decided to put 60 days in the new law. The issue now is this. The PDP law, based on OCEC law that has been repealed, when the law was eventually repealed, the PDP applied to the Federal High Court to amend the law, to amend the originating summons. and the court granted it. Eventually, the court gave judgment for the PDP. They annulled the election, and they asked all the chairmen, yes or no chairmen, to vacate the office. That was on 25th of November 2022. The same thing, however, the APP case was filed after the amendment of the law was granted. So the APP case also ran through, and the judgment was given on 30th May, after the inauguration.
So the matter went up onto the Supreme Court. Onto the appeal court.
Up to the appeal
which
court.
was about a week and a half.
Just give you the background that they now filed appeal into two cases. They appealed the two cases.
On the APP and the PDP matter.
Thank you very much. On getting to the Court of Appeal, you know, when you file an appeal, to our listeners at home, there are some things you have to do. You have to compile record of proceedings, and you have to file briefs. On getting to the Court of Appeal, they abandoned one appeal. They left it.
That's the APC.
That's APC. They abandoned one appeal. Then they prosecuted that of the PDP. Because of that amendment, which I told you, eventually, on preliminary objections, that the originating summons was based on law that has been repealed. And so, the Court of Appeal, 10th February, struck out the PDP case. And so, however, the other case that was left by
the APP
case, one of the parties filed an application before the Court of Appeal that these people had abandoned this case, that the Court of Appeal should struck the appeal out. And the court agreed, January 13. So, as at the time, as at the January 13, when the case was struck out, the subsisting order of the Federal High Court is still there in the sister case. So, when they got the February 10 judgment, they said they have been reinstated. We have clear evidence, the judgment clearly showed that the case was struck out. You were never reinstated. Your prayer was that the case will be struck out based on preliminary objection. Now,
that was what led to the violence where
they now say they are reinstated. No, we now told them that there is another case,
which is the PDP matter,
which is the APP matter. The other still subsisting, that you are not reinstated. They now forcefully they went to the local government that they will take over. However, unfortunately, maybe because of communication gap, they misinformed the learned Honorable Attorney General of the Federation. They wrote the AGF. AGF now gave advice based on the case of PDP that was struck out. They presented the case to the AGF as if there was only one case. Eventually, we wrote the AGF. We didn't know what happened. AGF has not responded, but we knew, and we know the AGF very well.
AGF gave a position, a legal advice from his office.
In respect.
And at the time, AGF told the Osun State government to respect. This was because of the violence that erupted.
Yes.
Where one person was killed, and there were a lot of.
Not only one person, about 3 or 4 persons were killed, and many people were injured. And after that, it was then the governor said, our people.
And APC claimed that you people were the one who killed, because the killed person was said to be an APC person.
It was because the man that was when somebody is politically exposed, his name we rings. All other people too are human beings. The police have the report. You can get the police report.
So there were all PDP people that were killed too.
About 4 people were killed.
Right, so you are blaming, or you blame Mr. Oyetola that he is the originator, is one who caused the problem. That's
everybody knows that, because he conducted the election not in line with the position of the law.
He shouldn't have conducted the election in the first place. That's
the election is regulated by law. Go and check section 150. And the whole world is, the electorate, the world is listening. If you want to conduct an election to the local government, you need 360 days.
All right, just for a moment. Let me allow you on.
Thank you, you're a lawyer.
Your principal is said to have caused the problem.
Yes, I'm going there. That's exactly where I'm going to.
Why the
I thank God you are a lawyer. Let me say this. For you to make something that is white, black, you struggle. We had an election when we were in office. Election was October 15, 2022. The election was won by candidates of APC. Those parties that Mr. Kola Kwalimi said they did not participate. It is not an aberration in politics. When a political party sees that they are not popular enough to contest with the party that is in power, they can decide not to participate. That does not invalidate the election. And the case was taken to, when those councillors and chairmen were already sworn in and they were in office. But November 25, 2022, the PDP that took us to court to challenge the result of that election, Justice Ayo Emmanuel gave a judgment that our election was illegal, and thereby that those chairmen and councillors should leave the council. November 27, when Govt Adeleke was sworn in, he leveraged on the judgment of that court and sacked the chairman, despite the fact that they still have the opportunity of an appeal. Because if they appeal, that means they will still be in office pending appeal, even to the Supreme Court. We did not fight. Our chairman and councillor moved out of the council, but we appealed the judgment of Justice Ayo Emmanuel to the Court of Appeal. Alas, February 10, 2025, the appeal court gave a landing judgment that allowed our appeal. Say, I will not take your time. What were the relief that we sought at the Court of Appeal? I'm going to read it out to you. There were just 6. It's an appeal. We asked the court to give an order allowing this appeal. We asked the court to set aside the ruling delivered by the lower court on 15 September. That is the court, the judgment of Justice Ayo Emmanuel. We also asked them to grant the appellant motion on notice to dismiss suit dated so and so. That's the same suit, that they should dismiss it. We asked for an order to set aside and nullify the judgment of the lower court delivered 25th November 2022. Still the same case. More importantly, we asked for an order to dismiss the suit number. That was the suit number FAC, that is Federal High Court, OS, Osun, CS 942022. Lastly, most interesting, we asked that an order restoring the appellants, those are our chairmen and councillors, to restore them back into their offices, having been duly elected by the citizens of Osun State. So we are here to discuss the result, because everybody went to court. What is most important here is the judgment of the court. Out of the 3 justices of the Court of Appeal, there was a unanimous decision. So I'm going to take you briefly. The first one of them is Abubakar Muazu Lamido. What he said was, in the circumstances, with the resolution of the 2 issues in favor of the appellant, it follows that this appeal is meritorious and it is accordingly allowed. All what we asked for, meritorious and accordingly allowed. The amended originating summons is hereby struck out for incompetence. That is what the originating summons from the PDP. He said, consequently, suit number FHCOSCS 9422 that I mentioned the other time, the judgment of Justice Ayo Emmanuel is hereby struck out. That was the end of that judgment. The second judge, Justice Isa Olufemi Akeju, he said, I have read the judgment of my Nane brother, Abubakar Muazu Lamido, and I agree with the reasoning and conclusion that the appeal has merit. APC appeal has merit. I allow the appeal and abide by the consequential order. The third one, Shehu, that was Justice.
We don't need all of the judgment. We just need the prevailing judgment and the position of the court.
I have the privilege of reading the draft of my Nane brother Lamido. I am in agreement with the unsaliable reasoning and decision therein. I too appeal and set aside the decision and orders of the lower court. I abide with the consequential order. What are we talking about? So that was the court judgment that reinstated.
As of February.
As at February 10. So when we got that court judgment, we did not just move to the council. Remember, the chairman and councillor were sworn in. They were already working before Governor Adeleke sacked them. So what we did was, we went for CTC, certified true copy of the judgment. We sent same to the Attorney General of the Federation, to the Inspector General of Nigeria, to the DSS and others. The Attorney General made advice openly that decision of the Court of Appeal of February 10 stays. And he has thereby reinstated our chairman and councillor. He advised that PDP should not do election because there are no vacancies in those councils. But instead of the PDP to go for that, they took him to the cleaner. Again, we submitted a copy of the CTC to the Inspector General of Police, so you will know that they have their own legal department. The legal department advised. So I know that they might have advised them that they should, and it is possible for them to implement that judgment. And that was why some police were there. But unfortunately, a very sad day, that was in February 17th, so to say, was a dark day for us in Osun. So, as at that time that we got the judgment, there were no, PDP does now have anybody at the council. Council was being run by civil servants. They have not done any election. So when our own chairman and councillors got there, PDP should have respected the rule of law. Because the law is no respecter of anybody. If you are not happy or satisfied with the judgment of this Court of Appeal, or probably the interpretation doesn't suit your purpose, you should have gone to Supreme Court. So as I say, you have not gone to Supreme Court.
Just a moment. And I'll ask you some three straight questions. The first one being that, is it confirmed that there were two cases? There were two cases against that election that went to court?
Yes, PDP versus APC, then APP and others, yes.
So you only held on to one, right? The judgment of one. Is that right?
Not the judgment. That was the first judgment. That was the first judgment that we got.
What happened to the other case?
The other, which one? That of APP.
There are two cases,
that of APP
and PDP.
Yes, they claimed it was abandoned. This case, the two judgments were given by the same judge, Ayo Emmanuel. The two cases had the same contents. So you can look at it like it is the same thing. We're already in appeal.
So you assume that whatever held in that.
Yes.
Whatever held in, that's the assumption.
So we know that anything from the appeal court is superior to that of the lower court.
Now, let me also ask you, because there is a moral burden of those who lead this country to know, because he alleged a few things here, and part of what he has alleged is what he called the complicity of your principal, Mr. Oyetola, whom, is the leader of your party in Osun State at the moment, so I call him your principal in that sense. He said he's the cause of the problem. Do you agree, as at the time, the substantive moment of running to that election, the law was that there must be a 360-day notice. Do you agree on that?
I don't want to go into this, but I will.
Is that the case, sir?
No. We can't take this personal. That's not the case.
It's not personal.
That's not the case.
I'm asking you. Was that the case? Just a moment, sir. Just a moment, sir.
Okay.
There was an election in July. Is that right?
The election of Southern, it was conducted in October.
It was on October 15th.
There was a governorship election.
Yes.
In July.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, you're right.
And there was an election, a local government election in October.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
So between July and October, was that an enough time?
He just said something now. Okay. He mentioned the INEC laws, which is federal. He mentioned OSIEC. He mentioned the State House of Assembly. But altogether, I'm not a lawyer. The issue is they were all debated and argued at the Court of Appeal. And Appeal still gave those judgments that I gave.
No.
So we don't have to go into Appeal did not mention anything about either the number of days or not. Appeal just said the appeal was meritorious. And the decision of the lower court was struck out.
So why does he think that Mr. Oyetola is agent provocateur in this matter?
No, I don't know.
He
did not consent. Let me tell you, that's where I was going, Seun.
Should he have conducted the election at that time?
Anytime.
Just at the exit,
anytime,
his exits.
There's no law that says you cannot conduct, even if whatever is legal.
The moral burden.
What is the moral burden?
You lost an election.
If it doesn't make a difference, because we lost an election does not make him a governor as at that time again? Is that what you are saying?
I'm asking.
Even if you are going to leave governance, 1 minute to 12 the day you will leave, anything you sign is law as a governor.
So let me allow him to respond.
No, I want to say something.
All right, quickly.
By Sakola Parliament, and this is a national television. It is wrong for you to attack somebody personally. There is an issue between Sakola Parliament and Alhaji Zabwe. I want to believe that. Because the origin of it is that he wanted to serve under Oyetola as an attorney general. Oyetola said no. There's nowhere by Sakola Parliament stand up that he will not insult the personality of Alhaji Oyetola. That is not
both of you are very good allies of Rauf Aregbesola. But I know that you're a very good friend of Rauf Aregbesola. Is it true that you have a problem with Mr.
Let me just
Do you have?
I don't have issue with him.
Did you want to sign?
No, not at all.
You wanted to be AG?
No, not at all. This black
lady, wait, yes,
don't let us divert the attention.
That was it.
My brother here
what
is
did
good at that.
To you?
You said the election was conducted 16 July.
That's the
governorship election.
Where Senator Adeleke won.
Alhaji Oyetola lost. He wrote out notice of election on August 16. That election will be conducted on October 15. If we are now having problem about that election, please, who is the architect?
But you went to court.
Is that my own making that will not continue to blackmail around? You ask about moral body. I'm not even going about moral body. We are talking about legal. My brother here is not a lawyer. That's the issue.
I am not.
You ask him a question
I'm not
which a lawyer on national TV will have answered straightforward. The 360 days notice is sacrosanct. Now, coming back to what he has said, let me just read part of that judgment. The reason why the PDP case was struck out was that the origination was effective. Now, he said...
But just for a moment, before you read that, the judgment upon which the APC held on to, which was the basis
that's
of...
That's part of what I want to
upon which they wrote a petition to the IG and they wrote to the Attorney General's office.
CTC.
Do you agree with that judgment?
Yes, wait on that.
Do you agree with that judgment?
Yes,
and I read all of the judgments from the different judges.
The judgment was that the originating what someone was defective. Just let me read the part of from what he read it off. Then now, since it is the position of the court,
just for a moment, sir. Just for a moment.
Now, since it is the position of this court that there is no valid originating process to confer jurisdiction on the lower court to hear and determine the claim of the first respondent, there is no point in considering the remaining issues. There were 4 issues before the court. 2 were based on preliminary objections. This could only be explained, understood by lawyers. Preliminary objection is about the originating summons. Originating summons happen to be the process by which you go to court.
To approach the court.
Yes, approach the court. What you approach the court for happen to be the legality or otherwise of the notice. Now, because they discovered, I said they quickly went ahead to amend the law. So that case was actually struck out on technical ground. The court never got to the merit of it. And that was the reason, out of their 8 prayers, court only grant 2 of it. The first prayer happened to be another allowing this appeal. Now, let me quickly, because of time, go to their prayer G. Another returning the appellant back into the offices, having been duly elected by the officer, by the citizens of Osun State. Now, my brother, if prayer A, which they are hanging on to, if it has covered all the prayer, why would they go to prayer G to specifically request for reinstatement?
So
which the court refused. So our own position, as at that time, because we need to move further, was that there is a subsisting judgment. Later on, they now realize they agree with our position. They now went back to the Court of Appeal, approaching the Court of Appeal to release the appeal, which they abandoned and which the Court of Appeal has struck out on January 13. That was what now led to the latest judgment. The Court of Appeal rejected them. Now, part of...
So, you were saying that they misinterpreted the judgment. Is that
of course, they knew it was a deliberate, because it was deliberate.
It was...
They deliberately that...
In legal parlance, it would become mischievous.
They are very mischievous. Now, they now corrected it. So, look at, because it has them, who eventually approached the court to release the appeal. It was the APC.
I mean, so if that means... Because the Attorney General... You said it was misled.
Yeah. It was not given the proper... Look at it. We told
CTC,
you asked a question. Yeah. You asked a question that how many judgments do we have? We are having 2 judgments. Are you getting it?
Are those judgments conflicting now?
They are not conflicting. The 2 at the Federal High Court. I'm talking.
Are they in alignment?
They are in alignment. But you know, I told you the parties are different. The PDP happened to be a party in one, and the APP in another, and the court did not consolidate the 2. And that was the reason the judgment was given separately. And that was the reason why the APC itself appealed the 2 judgments. APC appealing one, prosecuting one, abandoned the other, meaning the other will be subsisting. Now, eventually, they went back to the Court of Appeal. That's the latest one. That's what we need to be talking about. On getting to the Court of Appeal, they filed an application that they should be allowed to release the appeal that has been struck out. After exhaustive deliberation, the Court of Appeal said no. Now, I wouldn't know whether you can help us roll out part of the...
Just remember, we will do that, but we need to take a break now, gentlemen. Because in the heart of this whole matter is the people of Osun State.
Yes.
This is the government that is closest to the people. And I understand that funds that are for the local government are being withheld at the federal level. The people are suffering. The political heavyweights in Osun State are fighting over this matter. But what is the way forward? We're going to break, everyone, but when we return, we'll try to conclude this conversation, hoping that maybe we can chart a way forward. We'll be right back after this break, everyone. Join us again. Why would they feel that they benefited from the judgment of the appeal court? Why should they appeal?
They did not benefit from the judgment of the appeal court.
This is what I read for you.
No. It's not this one.
Mr. Ali, were you reading the obiter or the ratio?
I'm reading the ratio. The judgment.
The judgment of the appeal court that reinstated, not the judgment of releasing. They did not benefit from that. That of releasing.
So in your own position, you think there is a conflict between the judgments? Is that what you're saying?
No,
that is a releasing
at all.
And there is...
That of releasing is not a judgment. We are the one that went to court that they should release. Because the case was dismissed because of procedural error.
So, but on the matter...
Now,
so
if they don't release
the average person...
give a judgment.
Just a moment. The average person in Osun State who is watching and who is looking, and those who are perhaps from other states, who are learning from whatever that is happening today, will be wondering, what is the way out? In your own position, now there is a stalemate. There are
no stalemate. No stalemate. I will explain to you, no stalemate. Honestly, no.
Is there a local government administration in Osun State?
Yes.
The one that you're talking about?
APC chairmen and councillors are in the councils.
At the moment?
Chairmen, we call them sit at home. At the moment.
Is that the case?
It's not true.
Okay.
They are known as yes or no. Let me tell you one thing. Based on this judgment, the judgment, I told you they approached the court. Ask him, it's fine. They tried to twist. When it was done on them, that the judgment which they abandoned, still subsists, they now approach the court. Ask him now, who approached the Court of Appeal back for releasing? APC. Now, the judgment in that APC, in wherein they happen to be the applicant, your word is listening to us. The court gave, I have just read part of the judgment, and it's published in the paper.
And it's a ratio.
It's a ratio.
Not the obiter.
Yes, now.
In that ratio, obiter.
Wait.
APC won.
How?
And I will explain to you.
Your application was dismissed and they told you.
Look at this.
Look at this. This man is not a lawyer, otherwise he would have been charged.
I am not a lawyer, but I will tell you, I will prove something to you. The court cannot give you what you did not ask for. We asked for the court to release that appeal. These are what we saw in what they published. The first thing, leave of this honorable court to apply setting aside the ruling judgment of that Court of Appeal that dismissed the appeal because of procedural error. that they did not compile and transmit court records. That's what we are saying here. There is nowhere it is mentioned about the fake election that they did on the 20th.
So just a moment.
Let me explain.
I want to ask you.
Just
a moment. Just a
three
moment.
judges. Let me read this to you.
Honorable, just a moment.
Let me read this to you.
Just hold on, please. You were saying that he said that there is a substantive administration of local government in Osun State at the moment.
No, we are based on this judgment.
Are
now.
your chairman in
Just a moment, sir.
Based on this judgment now.
Which judgment?
The
Hold
authentic.
on.
No, I don't want us to miss one thing, which I want to explain.
Yeah.
But let me quickly answer your question. The authentic chairman that has been affirmed by the Court of Appeal, they are the one produced on 22nd February 2025. Now, look at this, the judgment that we are talking about. Because the way the court was might not be clear to my brother here. They approached the court for relisting. They have to state reasons. Are you getting my point? They told the court that due to the fact that they had communication gap with their lawyers.
So release.
To release.
Yes.
Then they told the court that somebody's sick. The court rejected all those reasons.
I said we are not releasing.
Yeah, wait. The court rejected the reason. The court now told them that you deliberately left this case.
Yes, so we are not releasing.
Wait. You deliberately left this case, and because you deliberately left this case, the for lengthen not fit injurious. The evil that before you, it happened to be you happen to be the architect of your evil.
Not releasing.
Now, immediately the court dismissed the application for releasing. Apart from all these ratios, it means the court emphasized that means the judgment still succeeds. So, if for our people, for our listeners at home, the purpose of the listing is that you want the appeal to be on the case file, for you to argue it, for the purpose of setting aside the judgment. So if your application for relisting has failed, it means the judgment is...
Gentlemen, we need to bring this up.
Just remember.
Just remember. Hold on.
No, we are missing something.
Hold on, sir. Hold on, sir. Can you hold on?
Okay.
Let me moderate this so that we don't have time.
Thank you.
And we need to end it. For the sake of the people who are watching, who is the chairman of, for example, just Irekwadun local government, for example, that was in office today.
Thank you.
As we are talking, happens to be the Mayegun of Ilobu, the produced on 22nd February.
Is that right?
That's a lie. That's a lie.
So
they call their own chairman sit at
on what ground? Just ask him.
Who was? If the Mayegun is
I am not from Irekwadun, but I know that of my local government.
Which local government is that?
It's Lukman Odebumi. He went to office today.
And he performed the
duty. We call their own seat at home. So there's something important that I want you to get.
No, because honestly, I want us to. The local government funding, is it still being with
up to this moment? And that's where this is national TV. I want to urge our Honorable Attorney General of the Federation. We have a judgment. It's being published everywhere. There is no amount of shenanigans that can change the judgment of the court. The court emphasized several times at different pages in the main judgment and the supporting judgment that the judgment which sack these people still subsist. We know that our Honorable Attorney General has not been given the right information. We are using this opportunity for the Honorable Attorney General, which we know is a respecter of the law, to look at the Court of Appeal judgment, which was delivered on June 13. And even if we are not talking about the superiority between the two judgments, assuming there is a conflict, which there is none, the one delivered on June 13
by lower court.
By Court of Appeal. I'm talking of Court of Appeal.
There is no judgment in Court of Appeal. They did not allow the appeal to be released. The case goes back to...
It does not understand the law. If your application for release has failed, if a judgment is subsisting, people are watching you now.
People are watching you. Are a lawyer.
Your application for release is failed.
If we apply for a release only, and you say you are not releasing, does it invalidate the judgment of the Court of Appeal that reinstated the chairman?
We need to go now, gentlemen. We need to go. And let me get what would be your final word tonight? after all said and done. Because as far as a lot of us who are watching from the sideline are concerned, there is a stalemate as far as the local government administration in Osun State is concerned.
On a more serious note, there is no government institution that is right that should respect what the PDP is asking for. No judgment. The judgment to release, they say no. And none of the, except one, that mentioned about the election that they say they conducted. The other two said no. The only thing they said,
we need to go. What is your final word? What is your final?
That they have taken a decision in appeal of February 10 and nothing changes it.
Your final,
my final word is that the people of Osun should please do not make any trouble. Our chairmen and councillors are in the council, and you know they are performing. The money will obviously drop. It's not a matter of process.
Thank you.
No amount of
no, we need to go now.
I just want to use this opportunity to hold the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation, the Honorable Minister of Finance, the Accountant General of the Federation. A judgment has been delivered June 13 by the Court of Appeal. Are you getting it? Affirming the 30th November Federal High Court judgment. That is the latest Court of Appeal judgment. There is no amount of shenanigans that can change it. This is democracy. I urge the Honorable AGF to kindly look into this judgment and respect it so as to resolve the local government lockdown in Osun State. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Honorable Adeleke and Honorable Alimi, thank you so much indeed.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that's our show for tonight. We hope peace will return to Osun. I'm Sean Kimale. God bless Nigeria.